Dear esteemed teachers, diligent students, and cherished friends, I am profoundly pleased and truly honored that today we have the distinct privilege of inviting the highly respected and renowned Khenpo Sodargye from the prestigious Larungar Buddhist Academy to join us. To our esteemed institute for two distinct academic exchange sessions, respectively. Just now, during the first academic exchange event, our students participated with immense enthusiasm and remarkable engagement, and the entire exchange proved to be exceptionally effective. The second session is primarily with our School of Education and Public Administration and the esteemed faculty and dedicated students of the first level Discipline Master's Program in Philosophy for valuable exchange. There are currently several items on the agenda for the second academic exchange session. First, our college dean will present Khenpo Sodargye with a certificate appointing him as an adjunct professor. That is the first item. The second important item on our agenda for today is that the esteemed Professor Sodargye will be gracing us with his presence to present some of his authored books. The third important item on our agenda is that the esteemed Khenpo Sodargye will be delivering a speech. This address will focus on the topic of Chan Buddhism and spiritual relief. Finally, at the conclusion of our event, we will have a profound academic interaction and engaging discussion with the esteemed Khenpo Sodargye. Now, let's proceed with the first item. The first item on the agenda is Dean Wei Hongtao will present to Khenpo Sodargye the Certificate of Adjunct Professor in the field of Chinese philosophy at our college. All right, the second important item on our agenda today is that the esteemed head of our distinguished Chinese philosophy program, Professor Mu Yongsheng, will graciously accept the invaluable collection of books thoughtfully and generously donated by the esteemed Khenpo Sodargye. Furthermore, there is an additional important matter that requires our attention, brought to light just a short while ago during the recent intermission in our proceedings. We had a brief yet meaningful discussion with the esteemed Khenpo Sodargye. He also profoundly hopes that this adjunct professorship will not be merely in name, but truly substantive and impactful. So, during the designated break, he engaged in a brief discussion with the dean regarding the School of Education and Public Administration at Suzhou University of Science and Technology, and a memorandum of cooperation framework with Khenpo Sodargye. This memorandum is intended to further strengthen the development of the first-level discipline of philosophy and to promote the open development of the Chinese philosophy discipline. After consultation between both parties, it is proposed to carry out cooperation in the following areas. First level, Master of Philosophy program in the School of Education and Public Administration establishment of graduate scholarships. Second, come to our institute from time to time to conduct academic lectures and academic exchanges. Third, with the Larungar Buddhist Academy where Sodargye Khenpo is located, we will jointly establish and build a research base for the study of Chinese philosophy. Fourth, we will conduct academic research in collaboration with the esteemed Sodargye Khenpo. All other relevant matters will continue to evolve and keep pace with the times as we develop further in the future. Next, we are scheduled to exchange memorandums with the highly respected Khenpo Sodargye. Now, we are truly honored and delighted to warmly welcome the distinguished Khenpo Sodargye to deliver his keynote speech for us.
The second session will be a joint exchange between the teachers and graduate students of USTC. Personally, I believe, although we are in different settings, we share common aspirations and common goals as well as common interests. I think all the teachers present here, I feel that we all share a mutual trust on different levels. Although I myself currently wear monastic robes and am dressed as a monk, I still strive to uphold my vows and duties. For nearly 30 years, I have never given up on education and teaching work. I have always had a very deep and genuinely strong interest in this particular field of study. Likewise, all the esteemed professors and dedicated teachers present here with us today have diligently and passionately cultivated countless exceptionally talented and profoundly virtuous individuals on the very front lines of education. This is truly a remarkable and invaluable contribution. Next, I would like to briefly share with everyone present. The specific and engaging topic of my talk is, today our main topic is Chan Buddhism and spiritual relief. I think today's topic is mainly Chan Buddhism and spiritual relief. Why are we discussing this topic? A few days ago, some teachers here mentioned that as educators, they face considerable pressure. There is work pressure, family pressure, and pressures from all aspects of society. They asked if there are a few specific suggestions on how to combine this with various Buddhist meditation practices. They wanted to hear my advice and my opinions, and I readily agreed. I think everyone's concerns are quite necessary. On the surface, China's economy has developed significantly in recent years. However, people's suffering has not been resolved as a result. On October 17th of this year, I remember seeing it reported in the newspaper, China is the country with the highest level of stress in the world. And the main sources of all this stress are money and work. There is also the pressure of working for a boss and so on. Under such immense pressure, if we truly want to survive, it is indeed exceptionally difficult for a person who completely lacks motivation. So today, in the short time we have as a Buddhist, I would like to share some of my superficial understanding of stress and meditation. After sharing with everyone during our interactive discussion, if you have anything worth criticizing or correcting, or even engaging in a thorough debate, I am completely open to it. My fundamental thought is, why do individuals experience so much pressure in their daily lives? Actually, I extensively talked about this very topic in the previous class session as well. A significant amount of pressure is often forcibly imposed upon us. There are indeed some challenging things we simply have to face and deal with directly. In my personal view, society today is indeed extremely technologically advanced. With the rapid development of modern technology, human needs have certainly become far too many. People in ancient times were not the same as people living today. Life in ancient times was quite simple and straightforward, and people's desires were truly not as great as they are now. In this way, as long as there was a simple means to meet basic needs like food and clothing, people's daily lives were already being taken care of. But now, whether you look at it globally or at individual countries around the world, people set very high standards and goals for their lives. As life goals get higher and higher, people are constantly unable to reach them. If we could lower our goals a little, we might not feel so much pressure. So the very first reason for pressure is that our goals are simply too high, and our standards are also excessively high. In other words, when a person actively seeks a certain lifestyle, their personal standard for happiness is quite different from that of the average person. Just being able to survive, just being able to get by, is not enough for them. They must have something more. For example, when it comes to clothing in the past, as long as you weren't feeling cold, and as long as you could present yourself in a truly decent and respectable manner in front of other people, that was generally considered to be meeting the basic standard for clothing. But now, it's not just about looking good. You also have to care about the brand and many other values associated with it. Moreover, these values include both Eastern and Western perspectives, specifically, and their levels of taste and sophistication are all different. As a result, this brings us a great deal of suffering. I think for many people, one source of this pressure is dissatisfaction, which is also a kind of desire, a kind of longing, and that's what causes it. So now, if you want to reduce this kind of pressure, what can you do? I think you can study Chan Buddhism. Learning some meditation methods from Buddhism should be very beneficial. Does Chan mean that we have to give up everything in our lives? Do we really have to behave in a very quiet and still way? Not necessarily. I remember there was once a young, inquisitive monk who earnestly asked an old, wise monk, "What exactly is Chan?" The old monk told him, "You eat as usual, you sleep as usual. That is Chan." This meaning might be hard for ordinary people to understand. If we eat as usual, sleep as usual, and work as usual, doesn't that mean each of us has become a Chan master? Aren't we all in the process of Chan practice? Of course, according to the standards of great masters, or if our level is a bit higher, then in that sense, indeed, Chan is a way of being in every action. Walking, standing, sitting, or lying down, all can be called Chan. Isn't it common nowadays for people to talk about Chan in daily life, Chan culture, and so on? All of these are ways of applying Chan culture. Sometimes it seems like Buddhist culture has become too secularized, but at other times it appears that it has already become a part of our daily lives. Many truly great masters of the past have consistently encouraged us to apply Chan practice in our everyday lives. So how exactly do we effectively apply it in our daily existence? If we deeply understand how to properly use it, we can indeed apply it at every single stage of our lives. How exactly can it be applied in every conceivable way? When our minds become unsettled, when we get angry, and especially when we feel an intense hatred, if we observe with a different mindset and ask ourselves, right now I'm experiencing this angry thought, what is its true nature? Or if we simply remain present with that extremely restless state of mind, then the original anger and hateful emotions will just dissipate completely, much like smoke and clouds. When it dissipates, apart from that, is there any other kind of anger that truly remains? In actual fact, there really isn't any other form of it. So Buddhism possesses a very thorough and comprehensive understanding and analysis of our own intricate mental states. In this particular regard, many current academic fields, such as psychology, neuroscience, or even brain science, have not yet truly reached such a remarkably high level of insight and development. Why is that? Because nowadays, in Western countries, including the United States and Germany, all of the meditation centers within their respective universities all consistently refer to these Buddhist teachings for their studies. Some of you here may have seen this, including at Harvard University, as well as the Columbia University and the Cambridge and Oxford universities, all the various meditation centers and meditation organizations that have been established within these prominent universities. What they primarily draw upon is sometimes from other religions, but predominantly and most significantly from Buddhism. Buddhist meditation, a practice, is now being increasingly applied in various aspects of modern life. At this particular point in time, indeed, I think some of the dedicated teachers and diligent students here, when you find yourselves feeling very restless, when your mind becomes deeply unsettled, it is then that everything can seemingly go wrong. As everyone knows, when water is especially calm, the beautiful reflection of the moon in the calm water is especially clear and truly magnificent. But when the water is disturbed, the moon's reflection cannot be seen at all. In the same way, in our daily lives, if my mood is consistently calm and my mind is truly at peace, then at that particular time, everything you undertake will be highly efficient and remarkably effective. Therefore, at any time and in any situation, when our negative emotions, such as anxiety, anger, or pain, or worries about others, or competitiveness, start to surge within us, our positive qualities, like compassion and even the smile on your face, will gradually disappear. So, when your positive energy has faded and negative energy rises, all the order in your life will be disrupted. At this particular point, you might start arguing at home, and even things like frequently hitting your children may occur. You may also become careless at work, and many negative behaviors will naturally arise. So I think everyone here should use some meditation techniques to calm the mind. If your mind is at peace, everything will go smoothly. There's nothing to worry about. But why is it that only by sitting in meditation can the mind be at peace? This too is a law of nature. I've recently discovered that when we meditate, the posture of our body while sitting resembles a pyramid in shape. It's pointed at the top and wide at the base. You may have noticed this as well, whether it's a statue of Shakyamuni Buddha or Amitabha Buddha. They are quite similar to the Egyptian pyramids. Not only is it a special way of sitting, but it also possesses a unique power. So how exactly have many scientists truly discovered this remarkable power? Scientists firmly believe that the actual construction of the Egyptian pyramids dates back, and many archaeologists estimate it's about 4,700 years old. There's also the Moon Pyramid in Bosnia, which some people now believe to be around 12,000 years old. From an architectural perspective, this is a mystery. Modern concrete structures generally have a lifespan of about 100 years, with most lasting only 50 years. No matter how high the grade of the concrete is, it's still like this. But structures like the Egyptian pyramids and the Potala Palace have lasted for 100s or even 1,000s of years, especially the Egyptian pyramids, which were built more than 2,000 years before the Common Era. Who built these? Some people say they were made by aliens. There are indeed all kinds of intriguing theories, and the ongoing debate surrounding them continues to this very day. No matter what the specific explanation, the fundamental pyramid shape itself, including the structures inside the Egyptian pyramids, all ancient relics inherently possess extremely long and enduring lifespans. Compared to virtually any other man-made structures or buildings that currently exist, none can match the longevity of those there. Later, this pattern was observed in another place. There was a building constructed entirely in the shape of a pyramid as well. I think it was in Austria. There was also a building like this. What is the unique feature of these two buildings? Fresh flowers placed inside this structure remain unwilted for a long time. This point is now scientific. Why do I use the term scientific? I think many of you here today, if we use scientific language and some of the terms used today, perhaps some of the profound principles in Buddhism that are quite hard to fully comprehend might indeed have some significant room for different ways of thinking. Otherwise, if I were to use only the teachings from the exoteric schools of Buddhism or the principles taught in the esoteric schools, perhaps for you these would be entirely new concepts and terms. You might not be able to fully accept them. In my own view, starting from the pyramid shape of the Egyptian pyramids, they have a special kind of cause and condition, or we could say dependent origination, that allows them to absorb the essence and energy of all things. Similarly, many scholars now believe that the shape of the pyramid is actually the posture of meditation. In Buddhism, I don't know if you have studied this or not, generally speaking, when meditating, whether practicing yoga or Buddhism, they all emphasize a sitting posture called the 7-point posture of Vairocana. The body should be upright. Of course, if you can keep your body upright in the best way, it's still truly best to sit cross-legged and ideally in the full lotus position. But if you really cannot manage the full lotus, sitting comfortably on a chair or a bench is also perfectly acceptable. In any case, your lower back must always be kept straight and upright, because in Buddhism it is already stated that if our body is upright and our channels are straight, if the channels are straight, the flow of energy inside will be normal. When the energy flows smoothly, it becomes much easier to adjust your mind. The body should be upright, and then both hands should form the meditation mudra. When forming the mudra, it should be like the hand gesture of Amitabha Buddha. The right hand is placed gently on top with the two thumbs softly touching each other. This precise arrangement forms the meditation mudra. Your eyes also absolutely shouldn't be fixed rigidly and unblinkingly on the very tip of your nose. Instead, you should gaze gently and calmly at the tip of your nose and allow your tongue to lightly touch the upper palate of your mouth. Also, both of your hands should rest lightly and comfortably on your waist, providing a sense of balance and stillness. This is known as the 7-point posture of Vairocana. And from the outside, this 7-point posture of Vairocana looks somewhat like a pyramid. With this particular kind of adjustment, your mind can truly, indeed, become very calm and serene and at peace. At that moment, you cut off all external distractions. All sorts of discriminating thoughts, delusions, and sufferings from the outside world. During meditation, it's very likely that all kinds of thoughts will arise. But most of these thoughts can be cut off at this time. When you successfully cut off all your deluded and distracting thoughts, you can then fully receive all your vital energy, Nowadays, many scientists firmly believe that this kind of meditation actually has tremendous and verifiable benefits for your entire body. From the comprehensive perspective of worldly health science, people who meditate like this regularly are generally not prone to aging easily. Your emotional responses won't be so restless or agitated, and your thought processes won't be so simplistic or superficial. With this enhanced ability, your wisdom to discern situations and make informed choices will naturally open up and flourish. In addition, with this kind of profound and stable mindset, you will find yourself more capable. A profoundly positive sense of compassion or genuine joy will naturally and spontaneously arise, or a deep sense of humility and profound respect toward others, and so on. These positive attitudes will naturally emerge, while many negative attitudes will gradually become incompatible with this state. Especially when you meditate in this way, I saw in the book, The Science of Meditation, in The Science of Meditation, it says that if you meditate, then 35% of your blood energy will be redirected upward to replenish the brain's blood supply. When your brain's blood supply is continuously replenished, your mind becomes extremely active, and your ability to discern becomes exceptionally rich. So many eminent monks and great masters, as you also know, throughout history in China, there have been many eminent monks and great masters. Many of them lived to be over 100 years old. There are quite a lot of such people. Even now in Tibet, there are many elderly and dedicated practitioners of meditation. These devoted meditators tend to live exceptionally long. And it's not like some of the elderly people in nursing homes nowadays who often live in great physical pain, profound sadness, and deep despair, always just waiting for their inevitable death. It's certainly not that kind of sorrowful state. Even when they live well past 100 years of age, they are still remarkably happy and content. Not long ago, I heard that in our area, there was also an elderly practitioner who lived to be over 100. But even now, he is still very healthy and robust and doesn't need anyone to help him wherever he goes. Moreover, his mental clarity and keen discernment are especially strong and impressive. His understanding and insightful discernment of the Dharma are also quite remarkable and profound. A few years ago, I had the precious chance to pay my respects to the Venerable Elder Master Benwan from Han region. At that time, he was about 101 or 102 years old. I think he was over 100 years old. Later, when he was 105, he manifested parinirvana. When he was over 100, he would eat his meals, and after eating, we would circumambulate the Buddha statues together. While we were circumambulating the statues, several of us were following behind him, but it felt like we couldn't keep up. The elder monk walked especially fast. For ordinary people, when they are over 100 years old, walking and doing things in general can be very difficult. All of this is what we witnessed with our own eyes. It's not just some legend being told, nor are these actually some completely illusory or far-fetched stories. To be honest, through my own experience, because I can't really claim that my meditation practice matches up to those of the great masters of the past, including some devoted lay Buddhists, I may not even be able to compare to them. Every time I practice, sometimes it goes quite well. My own experience in meditation actually feels pretty good. Sometimes, as I'm meditating, my mind drifts to things I've done today, or sometimes I recall things I've done in the past, but that's actually a good thing too. Generally, during the process of sitting meditation, because the mind is especially calm, when your mind is truly at peace, all suffering, all unreasonable and deluded thoughts, and all discriminating thoughts will completely disappear in that serene state of mind. In today's terms, it's an enjoyment, it's a kind of happiness. In fact, people who regularly meditate tend to have better mental states, and their overall outlook becomes much more cheerful. Especially in today's society, where everyone is extremely busy. When our bodies and minds are exhausted, we don't have a truly effective, everlasting medicine that can sustain our lives for a long time. We might often take various kinds of nutritional supplements, but whether these so-called nutritional supplements actually bring us real benefits or just side effects is really hard to say or determine. So I think it's very important for us to often use a method like meditation, which can be quite beneficial, to adjust our own lives and daily routines. This is also an extremely important aspect to consider for personal well-being. This kind of meditation practice, even some contemporary teachers nowadays, who are not necessarily Buddhists, still widely include meditation as a fundamental and beneficial part of their daily lives or educational curriculum. They also extensively utilize the practice of meditation to effectively guide the students they diligently teach. Actually, this is a well-known fact that many of you are undoubtedly aware of as well, specifically Steve Jobs, the CEO of Apple, who sadly passed away last year. He used meditation to actually invent things, to run his business effectively, and through deep meditation, he was truly able to discover many of the world's profound mysteries. This is not something that only Buddhists say, but people all over the entire world acknowledge this truth, including some psychologists and scientists also fully agree with this. You can find this mentioned in various media and different sources. So I think for many of you here, using this method to adjust your mind is quite important. In addition, this kind of mind adjustment actually has a significant effect on treating illnesses and maintaining physical health. Previously, it was the University of Wisconsin-Madison in the United States that conducted an experiment. What kind of experiment did they do? Over 2 months, they selected 149 people. These 149 people were divided into 3 groups. One distinct group focused solely and exclusively on meditation, while another group engaged in long-distance running, specifically a consistent regimen of jogging for 8 consecutive weeks, effectively jogging for 2 full months. And finally, a third control group did absolutely nothing at all during this entire experimental period. They divided them into 3 groups, and after dividing them, after a period of 2 full months had completely passed, when they meticulously conducted the comprehensive tests, the individuals who consistently practiced meditation exhibited a lower sick leave rate, specifically 24%. For those who did nothing, their sick leave rate was 100%. They all got sick. The sick leave rate for the long-distance running group was 54%, 52%, or 54%. It should be around that. From this experiment, it can be seen that people who practice meditation are generally very healthy. They are not easily prone to various forms of illness or sickness, and their inherent immunity naturally and progressively improves over time. Through a profound and deeply effective method of calming the mind and achieving inner peace, a wide array of different infections and numerous debilitating diseases can be effectively and completely eliminated from the body. So, because of this remarkable and undeniable phenomenon, I often find that some individuals and people in the world genuinely believe that doing nothing is a little the best thing, but actually doing nothing is really the worst thing. Some people think that nowadays my current teaching job is truly too stressful, causing me much anxiety, but in fact, having pressure is what gives life meaning. If you have nothing to do and spend every day playing cards or just doing some boring things and chatting every day, this is not the meaning of life. To be honest, since we have come to this world, no matter what material wealth we enjoy, we should have a sense of gratitude towards society. If you want to be grateful to society but do nothing at all, how could you possibly truly achieve anything at all? You simply won't. So, as someone who is deeply engaged in the field of education, if you are genuinely afraid of hardship and truly afraid of hard work, then this may not be the true, authentic spirit of an educator. I truly believe that as a dedicated teacher, one should conscientiously pass on all the valuable wisdom and selfless altruism they genuinely possess to the eager and developing minds of the next generation. From the profound perspective of deeply held life values, they truly embody a remarkably great and inspiring spirit. Since ancient times, the transmission of wisdom by many scholars has profoundly relied on the unwavering dedication and invaluable contributions of all previous generations of dedicated teachers and esteemed educators. Their noble intentions and significant contributions have been faithfully passed down to the present day, and now this current generation. We should also take on this responsibility. We should also embrace this cause. We ought to have this sense of mission And we shouldn't think that I don't need to do anything now, just make money. I don't need to do anything, just enjoy life every day. I'm not a creator, but a consumer. In our study of non-Buddhist teachings, some of their views say, I'm not a creator, I'm a consumer. I think we shouldn't just consume without doing anything. This kind of thinking is extremely passive. If you cultivate students with this kind of mindset, will they turn out to be outstanding? It's hard to say. So in this world, especially in the field of education, there may always be some sacrifices to make, but these sacrifices are meaningful. They would not cause any harm to society at all. Moreover, many teachers have students who have achieved great things all over the world. This should truly be considered a very honorable and significant symbol for oneself. So, in this modern society, as meditation practice, it should be thoughtfully applied to every single aspect of your daily life. It's truly not necessary to deliberately set aside a long, dedicated period of your own valuable time for this practice. Sitting in meditation every day may not be realistic when teaching as a teacher if you don't properly lecture to your students. But when I was a student, I did indeed encounter some teachers just like this. Every time he taught us physics, he wouldn't actually teach. Instead, he would close his eyes and think. He would say, "You all just think for yourselves." But we didn't even know what to think about. He said, "There's nothing to think about, just look for yourselves." Our classes were only 45 minutes long to begin with, but he would spend about half an hour just sitting there with his eyes closed, thinking. Afterwards, he would write emptiness on the blackboard, the emptiness of emptiness. At that time, we didn't even know what emptiness was. We had no idea what kind of lesson the teacher was actually giving us. Maybe that teacher had reached a certain level of realization. I only understood this later, but at the time, I didn't get it. Eventually, even the school administrators themselves found out about this situation. They explicitly told him not to lead the students into a state of irrational superstition. He felt a deep sense of resentment about this directive in his heart. The very next day, he didn't write emptiness. Instead, he wrote the character for existence, the real of true real existence. But again, he didn't teach us anything. That day, he said, "I'm not meditating like this. But actually, I am just resting my mind, and you can just rest your minds too." So I think if a teacher uses this kind of method, the level is really too high. I'm afraid that's unreasonable for a true teacher. But real meditation actually doesn't require setting aside a separate time for it. True meditation can be done even when you're riding in a car. You can do it while driving, or even when you're taking the elevator, or at any time, whether you're walking, standing, sitting, or lying down. According to the true meaning of Chan Buddhism, you use your own mind to observe your own mind. When you truly recognize your own mind, many of your thoughts can be profoundly transformed at any given moment. So being able to effectively transform at any given moment, that in essence is true meditation. Previously, in the significant historical record known as the A Compendium of the Five Lamps, there was also a remarkably similar saying. Within its pages, there was a Chan master known as Master Hongbian, who once had the opportunity to speak to Emperor Xuanzong of the Tang dynasty. He said, "Your Majesty handles countless affairs every day. There are so many things to do each day. But all of these matters, in the present moment, are Buddha." What he meant was, as the emperor, you have endless things to do every day, an overwhelming amount. But all of these things, within the mindset of Chan Buddhism, if you can truly observe your own mind, then this is pure Buddha, absolutely no different from Buddha himself. In the profound esoteric teachings of Tibetan Buddhism, there are many excellent and crucial key instructions regarding this very important aspect. Generally speaking, only those with a relatively high level of meditative attainment can achieve this. For most people, especially at the very beginning, it's best to have some. For example, when you wake up in the morning, you sit for half an hour or 10 minutes in front of you. At this moment, you can gently calm your mind while still comfortably sitting on your bed. First, breathe out and expel the air. When exhaling, also expel the impure air from your nostrils 3 times. Your own greed, anger, and ignorance, these are all expelled with 3 breaths each. Then settle your mind for about 10 minutes or half an hour. Afterwards, if you go to work, then all your thoughts and mental states throughout the entire day will be carefully adjusted and effectively absorb positive, beneficial energy. The process of sitting in quiet meditation at night is precisely the same. Before going to sleep, you meditate for about 10 minutes or even just 5 minutes. In this way, all the accumulated fatigue from the day is completely alleviated. We usually give our tired bodies a relaxing massage. Many people say, "I'm so tired today, my back hurts so much, can you give me a massage?" In the same way, your mind also needs this kind of adjustment. But nowadays, many people only know how to adjust their physical bodies, not their minds. This, in fact, is actually the main and most significant problem in today's modern society. Most people in society at most seek psychological counseling. But when it comes to psychological counseling, including those individuals who provide the answers, if they themselves haven't received proper formal training, it's very difficult for them to effectively help others as well. So in the end, what we truly and genuinely need is a profound sense of inner peace of mind. This particular method of achieving a state of tranquility actually genuinely helps people to develop profound wisdom. And when you thoughtfully add a comprehensive sense of orderliness to your daily life, everything in the entire world around you now fundamentally depends on precisely how your mind operates and perceives reality. When your mind is in a profound state of complete tranquility, absolute purity, and crystal clear clarity, at that precise moment, every single decision you make is inherently reasonable, well considered, and truly wise. The great scholars and revered wise men of early Buddhism, when they were meticulously writing their profound and influential works, did so with the utmost concentration, unwavering focus, and deep meditative insight, ensuring the profound wisdom of their teachings. It's just like a swift and powerful cheetah in the vast plains of Africa today. When it catches its prey, its entire mind is also incredibly and intensely focused. In fact, this profound level of unwavering focus can be observed in anything truly significant, such as a scientist making a discovery during their research, is also achieved in a moment of intense concentration. So I believe that many people in their daily activities, walking, standing, sitting, or lying down, should have a very strong and profound sense of control over oneself. In this particular way, regardless of whether you are a man or a woman, ultimately some truly remarkable and extraordinary kind of miracle should inevitably occur. In the past, there was a Japanese Zen master whose name was Chiyono. She was a remarkable woman. She was born exceptionally beautiful, possessing a captivating charm. Even prominent members of the royal family and distinguished military commanders were especially fond of her. But from birth, she was indifferent to worldly riches and glory. She had no particular desire for these things and viewed them with detachment. Later, she wanted to become a nun. When she tried to ordain, many temples, because of her unusual beauty, were initially afraid that she wouldn't be able to uphold the pure precepts, so they did not accept her. Later, she realized that her profound inability to be truly accepted as a nun was directly related to her physical appearance. So, in a desperate act, she disfigured herself with intensely hot tongs. After she disfigured herself, a Chan master realized that she truly wished to become a nun. He admired her noble spirit and accepted her. After being accepted, she did manual labor in the temple every day. She fetched water and chopped firewood, always busy, and this went on for more than 30 years. Around the year 1282, one day she was carrying water on the road. On her way back, it happened to be the evening of the 15th day of the lunar month. The moon in the sky was especially beautiful and very majestic. Its reflection appeared in the bucket of water she was carrying. She saw the moon's reflection in the bucket, so majestic, so beautiful. At that moment, she felt a sense of joy in her heart. But then, not paying attention, she dropped the bucket on the ground. The water was gone, and the beautiful moon's reflection disappeared as well. At that very moment, she became profoundly enlightened, and shortly thereafter, she composed some insightful verses. I believe that many individuals here have also experienced similar profound moments through their own personal lives. In life, you may not necessarily need to practice rigorous asceticism. Whether you're simply carrying water, taking a leisurely walk, driving your vehicle, or even peacefully sleeping. In your daily life, it's very possible that you might receive hints of enlightenment, recognizing the true nature of your mind. This is often discussed in Chan Buddhism. It's also mentioned in the Platform Sutra of the Sixth Patriarch. You neither think of good nor of evil. At that very moment, that is your original face. In fact, if you truly want to recognize the essence of your mind, when you are having thoughts that arise, or when your mind is not attached to anything at all, you will find peace. If you focus on it, observe it, and use your mind to observe your mind, in that very precise moment, you truly recognize its fundamental essence. This is, without a doubt, according to the teachings of Maitreya Bodhisattva, so-called enlightenment and delusion are just a matter of an instant. In other words, when you turn inward and recognize the true nature of your own mind, you completely understand, in theory, that the original face of my mind is actually like this. It's just that, since beginningless time, I have never truly realized its nature. Just like me, all sentient beings, why do they keep rolling in the world of dust and desires? What is the reason for this? It's because they have not awakened to their own minds. If I truly recognize the original, authentic face of the mind, then everything, apart from the beautiful, apart from the lovely and delightful scenes, it would be utterly impossible for us to ever see what we often see now, a world that is restless, impure, or even ugly and unpleasant. Such things would not appear in my external world, nor would they appear in my inner mind. That kind of scene should be truly wonderful, but unfortunately right now, we are still completely and fully unable to truly experience it at this moment in time. We even add countless deluded thoughts and discriminations ourselves. Things that are originally and fundamentally unreal, we instead mistakenly take to be truly real. We firmly believe they are stubborn, that they genuinely exist. With this kind of deeply deluded attachment and false discrimination, we ultimately end up making ourselves suffer immensely. In the end, we don't even know into what abyss we are pushing ourselves. Therefore, I truly think that many dedicated teachers here today who have spent a very long time in their professional life in teaching and in practical experience, it's really necessary to observe our own minds. In fact, our world, the most truly wonderful part of it all, is not found in the external environment around us, but rather deep within our very own hearts. Once you genuinely come to fully understand the intricate mysteries of your inner world, all these dazzling, chaotic things in the outside world will suddenly begin to collapse and fall apart. Everything will start to crumble at once. In that particular kind of profound state, all human language may potentially become something that isn't even a truly real means of expression anymore. At that precise moment, you may indeed experience an utterly indescribably wonderful and truly remarkable state, this kind of ineffable state. There's truly no conceivable way to describe it with mere words, and human language simply cannot adequately express it. If you try to indicate it by any other means, it's also entirely futile and completely pointless. But you yourself, it's truly like what is often said in Zen. As one drinks water, only they know whether it's warm or cold. Or, as some realized practitioners in Vajrayana Buddhism describe it, it's like a mute tasting sugar. There is flavor, but it cannot be spoken of. He himself already knows the true, profound nature of the mind. It turns out to be so incredibly inconceivable, and is truly the inseparability of emptiness and bliss. By any method, only personal realization can truly reach it. When the Buddha attained full enlightenment, he also profoundly said, "The luminous, play-free, unconditioned Dharma, indeed." If you try to explain this to someone, ordinary people in the world generally cannot understand it. So when the Buddha first attained enlightenment, he did not teach for 49 days. He was afraid that no one would understand. But later, after being requested by celestial beings and others to turn the wheel of Dharma, he turned the wheel of Dharma 3 times. Now, everyone present here actually has the capacity and the karmic connection so that each and every person can truly realize this truly wondrous, indescribable, and indeed inconceivable nature of the mind, this inexpressible state as described in the profound Prajnaparamita teachings. This profound state, one could certainly say, is present in every single moment at all times. We can always observe our very own mind, and as we observe our mind, everything in the external world can be completely integrated into our own mind. Why does Buddhism teach that all phenomena are created by the mind? In fact, this is not just a hypothesis. Some people might think, why is it said that all phenomena are created by the mind? The mind can't possibly create inanimate things. Such a simple principle, Buddhism could not possibly be unaware of it. So some people have too little understanding of Buddhism. They have practiced too little, and their knowledge of Buddhism is also too limited. As a profound result, the truly precious and invaluable spirit and core values deeply embedded within the rich traditions of Buddhism, if you could apply even a tiny bit of them, even if it's just 1/10,000th or 1,000th in your daily life, then your life, one could say, would be carefree and at ease and should be incredibly joyful and deeply fulfilling. But in this world, due to various causes and conditions for many people, the realm of Buddhist teachings and their own hearts are extremely far apart. So even though the realm of Buddhism is truly wonderful and profoundly inspiring, it is very difficult for people's hearts to accept it and even harder to attain it. In this regard, whether we are bystanders or people who have an interest in Buddhism, we often feel envious, including some teachers and students. Material assistance only solves problems temporarily. If it's about status or helping someone's career, that too is only a temporary solution. But if we truly provide someone with a truly spiritual education so that their mind becomes truly healthy, then throughout their life and even across lifetimes, it will truly have an inconceivable effect on the boundless brightness of their future. Therefore, for all the dedicated teachers present here today, while focusing intently on education in the future ahead regarding certain aspects of traditional Chinese culture, especially the Buddhist culture, such as the view of compassion toward people and animals and the true nature of our own mind and all phenomena, their original true face, if we can truly touch upon and fully understand some of these important aspects, then we can move forward. I think especially important. No matter what, life is inherently impermanent, always changing. As the renowned author Ernest Hemingway famously articulated, time, in its ceaseless and unyielding march forward, truly waits for no one. In one of his poems, he indeed wrote, "Time waits for no one." Buddhism also truly teaches that life exists in just a single breath. When we still have our precious life, before impermanence arrives, we should always endeavor to seize the most truly meaningful things and consistently strive to do what is most genuinely helpful to others. In this way, I truly believe that our lives will become much more enriching and profoundly fulfilling. I think that's about all the comprehensive information and insights I have to share regarding the principles of Chan Buddhism and spiritual relief.